Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Last time I made an introductory video about the topic women in Islam. I talked about the way in which women were being wrongly portrayed. So you can check the link in the description below if you decide to watch the video. Today we are going to talk about the disparities between men and women. Now, what do you mean by disparities? Disparities simply means differences. Disparities between men and women means the differences that exist between men and women. The search for the differences between men and women is not a new thing. We find it deep in history for not less than 2,400 years ago. While Plato rejects the differences, the existence of the differences between men and women, his student Aristotle affirms the existence of the differences. Plato says in his book, The Republic, women and men have the same nature in respect to the guardianship of the state, save insofar as the one is weaker and the other is stronger. While Aristotle stated in his book, The Politics, again, the male is by nature superior and the female inferior, and the one rules and the other is ruled. This principle of necessity extends to all mankind. He also says, the nature of women's preparedness differs from that of men, just as the job and responsibilities assigned to each of them vary under the laws of formation. The rights demanded by each of them also differ in several aspects. Philosophers that came after Aristotle leaned towards Plato's theory and built upon them. Now, the question that may arise is, are there a fundamental difference between men and women? In Islam, woman possesses a personality that is equal to that of a man in terms of freedom of will and action from all aspects. Allah the Most High says in His holy book, verily the most honored among you in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most righteous of you. So the most honored among you is neither a man nor a woman, but a righteous man and a righteous woman. So, woman's condition does not differ from that of a man, except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put down in terms of physical, psychological, and also spiritual attributes that matches their own role in the society and varied with that of a man. As for today, with the advancement of science and technology, the differences that exist between men and women is very defined and clear. So there are a lot of experimentations, statistics, and also field studies that prove that point. So we're going to look at the differences that exist between men and women based on the facts that was achieved by researchers. First, the differences between men and women from bodily perspective. So we're going to look at the differences from the aspect or from the angle of body. What's the difference? What differentiates men and women in that perspective? One, men in general have a larger build, while women do not. Men are rougher and women are gentler. Men have louder and rougher voices, while women have softer and smoother voices. Women experience faster growth than men. However, men have greater muscular and physical growth compared to women. A girl starts to speak earlier than a boy. The average size of the male brain is larger than the average size of the female brain, considering the brain-to-body ratio. The male lung can hold a larger volume of air than that of a female. A woman's heart beats faster than a man's heart. Second is the differences that exist between men and women from psychological perspective. So I'm going to see the differences in the aspect of psychology. Men tend to be more inclined towards sports, hunting, and physical activities than women. Women are more emotional than men, meaning they are more influenced by their feelings. Women are more cautious and fearful than men. Women have strong inclination towards beauty, adornment, and various styles of clothing, unlike men. Women do not reach the same level as men in logical sciences and intellectual matters, but they are not inferior in the fields of literature, arts, and other matters related to taste and emotions. Men have greater ability to keep secrets and suppress disturbing news within themselves, which makes them more prone to illness resulting from keeping secrets. Third is the differences that exist between men and women from mutual emotions. That's from perspective of mutual emotions. So, man seeks to accompany woman and make her under his control, while woman wants to possess the man's heart and controls him through his heart. Man wants to dominate a woman from above, while woman wants to influence him through his heart. Woman wants bravery and manliness from the man, while he wants beauty and emotions from her. But one may ask, what's the significance of knowing the differences between men and women? The answer is, many people today believe that Islam is anti-women and doesn't consider women and their rights. But the reality is the contrary. Islam considers women's right. In fact, there is no any other ideology on earth that respects and value women like Islam. So based on the differences that we mentioned between men and women, it becomes clear that what suits men may not necessarily be suitable for women, and vice versa. So therefore, the goal is not to impose the reality of men on women, or to impose the reality of women on men. They are all different, but rather to provide each with what suits them based on their physical and also psychological characteristics. What is required is compatibility, not equality between them. So in that matter, Islam doesn't consider women to be less than men. Also, Islam doesn't consider men to be superior to women. It's just responsibilities. Everyone has his own responsibilities that match their physical, psychological, and also emotional characteristics, as we mentioned. So women are respected from Islamic view. They are very, very valued and respected. We shouldn't listen to those voices from the western part of the world who are trying to tell us that Islam is anti-women, or Islam is against women, or Islam doesn't value women. The reality is not like that. Women are valued, women are respected in Islam. They want to tell us that women should be like men. Women should be equal to men. No, they are not the same. Each and every one of them have their own, differences. So have their own qualities, have their own characteristics. So they can never be the same. So each of them also have their own responsibilities and their own, role to actually play in the society or at home or anywhere. So they are not the same. They complete each other. Man and woman complete each other. So they are not just equal the way they want us to believe from the West.